So we talked about multiples. Multiples are when you skip count by that number, or you multiply that number times another number, like 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 8. You always go back to your original number and multiply it by another number, okay? Or you skip count from your original number, okay? All right, the next one down was a time lapse, elapsed time. Y'all remember we did elapsed time?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
They left home at 7:45 and they got to school at 8 o'clock. I think that's what it said. 8:10, sorry. They got to school at 8:10. And they wanted to know how much time it took them to travel. Okay? So if we go in 5-minute increments, what's 5 minutes?
I'm 40.
7:40. Okay? Another is going to be 7:40.
5.
Next is going to be
50.
the next is going to be
55.
the next is going to be
60. Or 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Then the next is going to be
5.
5. And the next would be 8:10. If all of these are 5-minute increments, how long did it take them to get there? 5, 10, 15,
25 minutes.
25, 30, 35 minutes. I had several of those that were wrong. It was 35 minutes. Does everybody see how I did that?
Yeah.
Started at the time, and I just kept adding minutes until I got to the end time. Then we had to convert 17 hours into how many minutes? How many minutes is in 1 hour?
60.
There are 60. So if we want to know how 17 of those hours, we're going to take 17 and multiply it by 60. Okay? Multiply it by 1 total hour in minutes. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. We're not going to use that anymore. Remember? So we put a placeholder in the ones place. Remember that? Now, what is 6 times 7? Briley, what's 6 times 7?
42.
42. So I put the 2 and I carry my 4. What is 6 times 1?
6.
6 plus 4.
10.
10. And I add that together. So it's 1,020 minutes. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
1,020 minutes. Okay? Now the next one says we're going to convert days to hours. We have 14 days. How many hours is in one day?
24 hours.
24. So I need to multiply each day by the number of hours in one day. So I'm going to say 14 days times 1 day of 24 hours. All right? What's 4 times 4?
16.
16, carrying a 1. What is 4 times 1?
4.
Plus 1
5.
is 5. I'm not going to use this 4 anymore, so I'm going to put a placeholder on the second row.
Oh.
Okay? What's 2 times 4?
8.
8. What's 2 times 2? I mean, 2 times 1, sorry.
1.
Lily?
2.
Huh? Lily Shelton, get that off your face so you can see. What's 2 times 1?
2.
2.
2, and now I need to add those together. Okay? 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry my 1, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So there's 336 hours. 336 hours in 14 days. Does everybody see that? And the last one is, some people were having trouble with equivalent fractions. Okay, y'all need to look up here. Okay, equivalent fractions. To get equivalent fractions, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. Okay? So to get an equivalent fraction, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. What's 3 times 2? What's 3 times 2? 6. What's 4 times 2?
8.
Well, here's one equivalent number. So if we do it again, 3/4 times 3 on the top and the bottom. What's 3 times 3?
9.
9. What's 4 times 3?
12.
So there's another equivalent. Can y'all see that? And if we do it again, 3/4 times 4, top and bottom. What's 3 times 4?
12.
And what's 4 times 4?
16.
It is 16. So when you were supposed to write at least 3 equivalent fractions, 3/4 is equal to 6/8, 9/12, and 12/16. And I could keep going by multiplying the top and the bottom by the same number. Okay? So that was what we were supposed to do last week. Okay? Some of you didn't get some of these correct. Do you see where your mistake was? Yes? Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on to this week. All right. Today, there it is. Do you have the page 136 that I sent you?
Nope.
That looks like morning work?
Nope.
What do you mean, no?
We don't have a printer.
Oh, goodness gracious. There was that up there. I'm trying to get to it so I can find it for you because I got it. There it is. I lost it. I had to put it up on my screen. All right, let's get it down here smaller so I can put all y'all guys in here. All right. So let me share this screen with you so we can talk about this. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only when I share my screen, y'all go teeny tiny on me, and I don't know why. And y'all go where I can see all of you. So let me see if I can find all of you in here and make you bigger. Oh yeah, that looks better. I can see y'all now. Okay. All right, so look at this thing. It says complete the chart. We got the word light. Let me try to write on the screen. I haven't tried this yet. Where's my little annotation? Okay. If there we go. It says to complete this chart. Well, on this chart, the middle there, all of them, what do you see that's in common in that middle chart?
They both end with an ER.
They all end
All
with
of
an ER. You are correct. They all end with an ER. All right. And if you look in the last chart, they all have the same what?
Ending?
Ending. And the ending is
EST.
EST. So what do you think this first column is going to be? It's going to be the what? The root word, the base word.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think the base word of what do you think the base word of lighter is?
Light.
Light. Okay. So the base word is light. So what do you think would go in this column here?
Lightest.
Correct. We're gonna have light, G-H-T-E-S-T, lightest. So you have light, lighter, and lightest. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think is going to go in the center one here?
Busier.
Say again.
Busier.
Busier. How would I spell busier? You know how I would spell busier? B-U-S. Would I spell it with a Y?
No.
How would I spell it? I-E-R. Busier. Okay. What about, what's going to go in my last column here?
Busiest.
Okay, and how do I spell that?
B-U-S-I-E-S-T.
Correct. All right. Let's move on down. Let's see. All right. Who wants to give me the answers for the next one there? Mia, give me those.
Rare.
Okay. So we're gonna be. Okay.
Rarer.
How would you spell that?
R-A-R-E-R.
Okay. Okay. Lily 2, can you give me the next one, please?
Yes.
Lily 2. I can't hear you. Do you have your audio on? I can't hear Lily Shoe. Isabel,
Yes.
what would this be?
What's the U?
Okay, would I spell it with a Y?
No.
What would I spell it with?
Or
Okay, and the last one there, that's on the same page.
Frostiest.
Frostiest. All right. Manny, can you tell me the next one?
Crank.
Very close.
Cranky.
Cranky. Cranky. Okay. And
Crankiest.
crankiest. Let's see. Ansley, can you tell me the next one? Someone's talking in the background. Ansley, can you hear me? Ansley, what's the next? What goes in this column?
Fluff.
We have Fluffy in the first one. What goes in this one?
Fluff.
Fluff what? What's the rest of the column end with? Ansley, look above it. What do they all end with? Fluff,
Fluffiest.
not E, not S. What's above it?
Fluffier.
Fluffier. That don't look like it's spelled right. I don't know, that ain't right. All right. And then the last one, Ansley, is going to be
Fluffiest.
fluffiest. That's where you get the fluffiest. Okay. Okay. Hey, Lexi, welcome aboard.
Hi.
Who is not called on? Havoc, can you help me out with this one?
Grouchy.
Grouchy. What would go next, Havoc?
Grouchier.
Grouchier. Okay. Lexi, what would go next? What would go in this one? What would go in that one, Lexi?
Risky.
Not risky. Oh yeah. No, not yeah, risky. Yep. You're right. There's an I on it. Risky. And what would go in the last one over here?
Yes.
Say again.
Riskiest.
Riskiest. Okay. It looks like they did busy again. So we've got the same thing there as we had up there. Let's go down to the next one. What goes in the first one here? Let's see, Havoc, help me out.
Dizzy.
Dizzy. And the middle one?
Dizzy.
Correct. Okay, and what about this one here? William, can you tell me what that one is?
Dancer.
Denser. Okay, and then this one, William?
Danciest.
Densest, yes. Makes me want to sing.
All right, let's go.
Densest. Okay, what about this right here? Mia, help me out. Mia.
Luckier.
Okay. And
Luckiest.
luckiest. And we got our last one down here. Briley.
Sweet.
Is that you, Briley? What is it, Briley?
Sweet.
And here?
Sweetest.
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 Yes. All right, so that fills in that, okay? This says match. My thing's in the way. I gotta move it. There. I gotta put it over here. All right, it says match each word with its synonym. Somebody remind me, what's a synonym?
The same.
It means the same, exactly. So what is stern? Stern goes with which one on the right-hand side?
Strict.
Correct, it goes with strict. So if I draw a line, it would be, I got the wrong line, I need to get the wrong line. It goes with strict. Okay, respond. Answer is correct. Okay, shout.
Yell.
Yell. Enormous.
Gigantic.
Gigantic.
Gigantic. Oops. Hurt.
Injured.
Injured. Gather.
Collect.
Collect. And dirty.
Filthy.
Filthy.
All right, then there's a new vocabulary word for you. Conversation. That means to discuss. That's what we're doing now, right? All right, so let's look on. Whoops. Oh, we don't need any of that, so we need to clear this, don't we? Oh, yes. All right, this says to write a sentence that compares the items in parentheses. What can I write here as a sentence? What can I write here as a sentence that will compare president and vice president? Who wants to help me out with that? Write me a sentence where I can compare them. What kind of words would I use to compare something? Compare means what? How they are what?
The same.
Similar.
The same. So what's some words I would use if I was trying to show how they were the same? If I wanted to say that Lily and Lily, okay, I wanted to compare their names, I would use a sentence by saying Lily and Lily, they both have the same name, right? So what do the president and the vice president have in common? What are they alike? How are they alike?
They both have president in the name.
Okay, so we can write that sentence as they both have president in their title. Not really their name, it's their title, right? So they both have president in their title. That's comparing something that's how they're identical or they're the same. All right. What about Cuba and Canada?
They're in the same place.
They're not the same place.
They both
cheese.
Okay, somebody was talking first. I don't know who was talking first.
Me.
Which one said me? You need to do this, and so instead of me, I can't tell who's me. Lily. Lily Shoe. Lily too. Tell me a sentence.
They both have A in the same
They both have an A at the end of their name. Is that what you said? Okay. Some other things we could have said is they are both foreign countries, right? Well, no,
Yeah.
Canada's not. Canada's part of the U.S. It's not foreign. But they both start with a C. They both speak different languages. Cuba speaks a different language than us. Canada speaks French. Parts of Canada. Okay. All right, let's look at history and science. What can we say about history and science when we compare them?
They're both subjects.
They are both subjects. Very good. Was that you, Manny?
Yes.
They
Ooh.
are both. What kind of subjects? School subjects?
Yeah.
They are both school subjects. Okay. And then we're going to compare this last one down here. All right. Great white shark and jellyfish. Somebody raise your hand. Great white shark and jellyfish. Who's not went? William?
They're both sea creatures.
They are both sea creatures. Okay. So when you compare them, you're saying how they both. You see how every sentence we put has both? Okay. Mia,
Yeah.
please stop making that bag that thing make it crinkle, please. Okay. So when you're comparing them, they both do this, they both do that. Those are common words that we use, okay? All right, so that finishes that. All right. So we have done our sheet for that, and we have done our homework. So the next thing I want to talk about is some math. Does anybody, every week you bring you a pencil and paper with you, okay?
Okay.
Who has the sheet that I sent you with, oh, Riley has it. It says geometry at the top. I'm gonna get this over here. I'm gonna share this with you. Hit green share again. Okay.
It's so colorful on there.
It is colorful.
Oh,
Isn't that nice
really?
looking? I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
it's
make it a little
darker.
smaller though. Let's see. Let's make it down where I can get it all in there. All right. All right. So tonight, our lesson for math, we talked about angles, right? What were the three angles? Do y'all remember? Riley, give me an angle.
Well, I can't get it to download, so.
Riley, give me an angle.
Acute.
Acute. Manny, give me an angle.
That's the one she got on there to download.
Manny, give me an angle.
Obtuse.
Obtuse. And give me the last one, Lily Shue. Right angle. Okay? This is what we talked about last week. We talked about the different types of angles. Okay? Acute at what? Smaller than
The right
90
angle.
degrees. Obtuse meant
Bigger
than 90 degrees. And right meant 90 degrees.
I
Right?
still have the thing we made last week.
Okay? Now, the next thing that we're moving on from learning what angles are to learning what shapes are. So the word that we're going to work on tonight is called polygon.
Polygon has 5 sides.
No, polygon. That's pentagon, honey, not polygon.
Oh.
Okay? We're going to talk about, actually it's called this is polygon means shapes. Okay, that's all it means. When you hear me talking about a polygon, it just means we're talking about something that's a shape, shape of something. All right. Now, there are many different types of polygons. Okay, the sheet I sent you tells you what the name of those shapes are. The first one is a triangle. A triangle, and it has 3 sides. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. It has 3 sides. Has a picture there for you so you can see it. All of you know what a triangle is. You've seen triangles every year in school. That's one of the first shapes you learned other than stars and circles, right? These down here are the ones that get people confused. A quadrilateral. The word quad, Q-U-A-D, at the very beginning here, Q-U-A-D, quad means 4. How many of you have ever seen a 4-wheeler?
Me.
Have you ever heard it
Definitely
called a
me.
quad?
Yep.
They call it a quad because it has 4 wheels. So a quadrilateral is always going to have 4 sides. Right here. So a triangle is quadrilateral. Okay? All right. So the next thing now that has 5 sides is a pentagon. It has 5 sides.
I have a paper.
Okay? We have a pentagon that's part of our government branch. Yes, you have some in color, don't you? Lily Sheldon's showing us some in color. Okay? So a pentagon we have in our government. It represents the 5 branches of the military. All of our armed forces, our, help me out, Navy, Marine, Air Force, Coast Guard,
No. Army.
what's the 5th one? It's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. That's it. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. The Pentagon in our government represents those 5 branches of our military, and so there's why they call it a pentagon for it. That's where they keep all the military leaders. A hexagon, the word H-E-X, hex, means 6. So this has 6 sides. This one you don't see very often, and it's hard to draw, is a heptagon. Okay? It has 7 sides. An octagon has 8 sides. It's like an octopus. How many legs does an octopus have?
8.
8. So octo means 8. And it has 8 sides. So this is a shape. What shape do you see out in on the roads that has that kind of shape? A what?
A stop sign.
A stop sign. Okay? So a stop sign is an octagon. It's an octagon shape. Then you have a nonagon. Okay? It's 9 sides. And you have a decagon. Stop doing that, please. Then you have a decagon, and a decagon is 10 sides. Because deca means 10. Okay? You'll learn more about deca when we go into measurement. Okay? Deca means 10. So this here is a shape for you to keep and you look at and learn those sides, how to identify them, okay? Who's eating? It's okay if you eat. I don't care if you eat, but please step back from your microphone if you're going to eat, because you're eating and making crinkling noises right up next to the computer, and then people can hear. Okay? All of these shapes here on this board, these geometry, or geometrical polygons. Okay? They're polygon shapes. Polygons are shapes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them listed here for you. Okay? Try to remember some of these. The easiest ones are octagon. How many sides does an octagon have?
8.
8 sides. How many sides does a pentagon have?
5.
5. How many sides would the quadrilateral have?
4.
How many sides would a triangle have?
3.
See, those are your easy ones. The ones that you don't know would be your heptagon, your nonagon, and your hexagon. The rest of them you should be able to come up with decagon too. All right? So this is a shape for you. Now we're going to move on from these shapes, identifying these shapes, to we're going to talk about identifying some triangles. We had to learn that a triangle was a shape in order to do this. Okay? All right, so I have something here, and we're going to go over a couple of different ways. Triangles are classified in a couple of different shapes. There's a couple of different ways to classify them. Okay? Where you just down a little bit, I'm going to scoot y'all over. I think I'm all right. So, can everybody see the screen for classifying triangles?
Yeah.
You classify triangles by angles. We learned angles last week, remember? Acute,
Yep.
obtuse, and right. You're going to need to know that to classify these. And then we classify it by size. We classify triangles by 2 ways. Everybody understand?
Yep.
You classify them by angles as right, obtuse, or acute, which we just talked about. All right, so this one here, look at this triangle here. This says an acute triangle. What do you notice about all the triangles in this triangle? I mean, all the angles.
They're all acute.
Yeah, they're all acute. Let me start the slideshow. Ta-da!
Triangle.
Gotta move y'all a bit. Ooh, get out there. Okay. I gotta move y'all over just a little bit so I can see. All right. So it says, let's go to, all right. So what do you notice about all of these angles here?
They are straight.
They're not straight. That is not a straight angle.
They're acute.
They're all acute. Okay? An acute triangle is a triangle whose angles are all acute. This is called an acute triangle. An acute triangle. Okay? Who has the bottle rolling around? All right.
bottle rolling around.
This is an obtuse triangle. What do you notice about this triangle?
All angles are acute.
No, all angles are not obtuse.
They're all acute.
This one is acute. This one is acute, but this one is obtuse. Okay? So an obtuse triangle has one and only one obtuse angle. Okay? Can you draw an obtuse triangle? See if you can draw a triangle with 2 obtuse angles. William, do you have a piece of paper so you can participate with us tonight?
Yeah.
You can't do that. Wait, can you?
Can't what? That's exactly right. You can't draw a triangle with two obtuse angles. So a obtuse triangle only has one angle that is obtuse.
Can't do that.
Cameron, stop humming. All right. This is a right triangle. What do you notice about this triangle?
There's one right
One
angle.
right angle and
It
then
has
the other
one angle that is a right angle. Okay, it has one angle. One right angle. A right triangle is a triangle with a right angle. Can you draw a triangle that has two right angles?
No. No.
Someone's drawing on my screen. Okay, you can't draw it. Can only have one right angle. If it has a right angle, it's called a right triangle. Okay. So we've discovered that we have acute triangles, obtuse triangles, and we have right triangles. Right? We have three kinds. What kind is this?
Obtuse.
It is, because this is acute, but this is obtuse. So this is an obtuse triangle. Okay? What kind of triangle is this?
Acute.
Right.
Stop writing on my screen. What?
Right.
This one is acute. This one is acute. What is this one? It's a right angle. So this is
That's what I said.
right triangle. Okay? This is a right triangle.
Why are you acting like that?
All right, stop writing on
I
my
guess you
screen.
want to sit in your room all night with nothing.
Okay, what kind of triangle is this?
God, pay attention. You don't have to sit there and look like you pouting.
It is an acute. Right here, this angle, and this angle are all acute. So this is an acute triangle. Okay? All right. Now, there are three more ways to classify a triangle. Okay? A triangle can be equilateral. Look at this word, equilateral. What do you think that word means?
They're all equal.
It means all the lines are going to be equal. The word equal there means all the lines are going to be equal. Then you have an, look at this word, isosceles triangle and a scalene triangle. Okay? So you can have an acute equilateral triangle so that you could classify it in two ways. Okay? Has everybody got that?
Yeah.
All right. You have learned that you can name a triangle by looking at its angles. Can you name these three triangles? What's this first one right here? What's the name of this triangle right here?
acute.
It is acute because all three of the angles are acute. What is the name of this triangle?
Obtuse.
Obtuse.
Right.
William, what's the name of this triangle?
No. Which one she talking?
This one.
Right.
The right triangle, okay? Obtuse and right, okay?
The right angle's on the right.
We're gonna look at naming it by its side. The three words that we just learned, equilateral, isosceles, and scalene, are how we determine the sides of the triangle, okay? Whoever is writing on my screen, I'm going to ask you for the 4th time tonight, to please stop writing on the screen. Okay?
Miss Miller, it's no way to write on your screen. If you flip to the next thing, the stuff that was on your screen is still on your screen.
I know there's somebody put something on there and hasn't taken it off, but then there's somebody else that continually writing down here in this area. Okay? We don't have time to go to the screen box thing right now. All right, look at this triangle. What do you notice about it? You notice that what we learned already, that all three of the angles are acute, right? So it's an acute triangle. Well, what do you notice about the sides? What do you notice about the sides? Havoc, what do you notice about the sides? They're what? Havoc, what do you notice about the sides of this triangle? This side is the same as this side, is the same as this side. So they're all the same, what? Length. They're all the same length, okay? So when they're all the same length, all three sides are the same length, this is called an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle. When all three sides are the exact same length, it's called an equilateral triangle. Okay, look at this triangle. What do you notice about it? Is this side the same length as this side and this side?
No.
Yes or no? Is this side right here the same length as this side? It is not, okay? These two sides are the same length, but this bottom one is shorter. Two sides are the same length. When two of the sides are the same length, it's called an isosceles triangle. Isosceles means that has two equal sides or two equal lengths, okay? So an isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same length, but the third side is not the same length, okay? This one, if you were to lay this one down here, it would not be the same as this one. And if you were to lay this one down, it would not be the same as this one or that one. So this one, all three sides are different lengths. None of these are the same length, okay? None of the sides are the same length. None of them. When none of them are the same length, it's called a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle, which means uneven, okay? It comes from the word scalenus, and it means that it's unequal or uneven. So all of these sides are different lengths, and it's called a scalene triangle. Okay? All right. Let's see if we can sort some of these triangles out. That was the end of that. Okay. All right. Oh, hi, Lyric. I didn't know you were in because I had y'all, some of y'all, where I couldn't see you.
Hey.
All right. So we learned that there are 3 ways to, these are the angles. And then you have your equilateral, your isosceles, and you have your scalene, which we just had up, which are 3 more ways to classify a triangle. Okay? 3 more ways to classify that triangle. So a triangle, when you're classifying it, you have to look at it two ways. You have to look at what is the angle and what are the sides look like. Okay? When you classify a triangle, you have to look at the sides and you have to look at the angle where they meet. Okay? In order to classify them correctly. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
All right. So whoever's going, whatever that noise is, please stop because people can't hear me when you're doing that. Okay? If you're going to make some noise, you have to mute yourself or step away from the computer. Okay. So that was what we want to talk about tonight for math. About identifying triangles and quadrilaterals. That was a lot of math in a little short amount of time, okay? Quadrilaterals is the sheet I sent you. Polygons, that's your shapes. You got your triangles, quadrilaterals, hexagons, pentagons, decagons, nonagons, all those, identifying those, how many sides are on them. Then identifying the triangles by their angle and by their sides. All right? So we're going to continue to work on that. But those are what you need to learn to do, okay? Identify them by their shape of their angle and the length of the sides on the triangle. All right, so last week we talked about ecosystems. Who remembers talking about ecosystems? I remember talking about ecosystems. What is an ecosystem? Anybody remember? Showed you a quick PowerPoint last week. I'm trying to hurry so we can get to the game part. Lily. Lily, where'd you go? I lost Lily 1. Lily 1, there you are. Lily 1, what's an ecosystem?
Somewhere where an animal lives.
Not just an animal. You're on the right track, though. An ecosystem, we said, was where living and non-living organisms interact together. Remember? It's everything. It's the dirt, the sun, the rocks, all those things mixed with the animals, the plants, the humans, the bugs, everything, right? Okay? So that's what an ecosystem is. Now, this week, we need to divide that ecosystem up and break it down into smaller parts because the ecosystem is everywhere, everything around us. Remember we talked about there were terrestrial ecosystems, which was your land ecosystem, right? And then you had aquatic ecosystems, which was your water ecosystems, or your ponds, your oceans, estuaries. We learned what that was last week. Anybody remember what an estuary is? Manny, do you remember? An estuary was where a place that had salt water and fresh water mixed together, remember? We talked about that a little bit last week, okay? All right. On your land ecosystem, we talked about there was the Arctic tundra. Where did we say the Arctic tundra was? Where it was very what? Cold. Very cold. You had your rainforest. You had your deserts. You had your temperate forest. What was our ecosystem? Do you remember? We live in the temperate forest ecosystem. Okay? The temperate forest ecosystem is where we're at now. It's not got a lot of rainfall. We have moderate rainfall. We don't have a lot of undergrowth like you would in the rainforest where it's very, a lot of plants and animals. It's a different kind of ecosystem there. All right. So this week, we're going to break it down. An ecosystem has 3 parts. So let's talk about it. I'm going to pull this up so you can see it. Okay. I'm going to share this screen with you. Okay. And let me put it up on the slideshow here. And we're going to talk about this for a minute. Okay. It says, how do you fit into the ecosystem? Right? You fit in this ecosystem you're living in somewhere because you're here, right? All right. So an ecosystem is down here at the bottom. This everything. The rocks, the animals, plants, the living, the non-living. We break it down into a community. What do you think the word community means? What do you think the word community means? The community is when you have a whole lot of people, different animals, different plants, all living in the same general area. What's our community? Do you know? Anybody? Do you live in a community? Do you have other families, other plants, all that living and interacting with you in some around your house or around you?
Yes.
Yes, so you live in a community. It's a community, and you see here, fish, crabs, jellyfish, all of them living in the same general area together. They make up a community. Then you come down and there's a population. Okay, we're going to learn about that. And then you have individual. Guess which one you fit in? You are.
Myself.
You are your individual, right? You are the individual. Okay? So, here is ecosystems. This is a picture of the stuff. Ecosystems are made up of a community. They're made up of populations and habitats. Oh, I gotta get this off. I can't read that there. It says communities are the living part of an ecosystem. So now when we break it down, the community is the living part, not the rocks, not the dirt, okay? Not the non-living parts. The community is the living organisms, the plants, the animals, the humans, okay? Look at this picture. This is an ecosystem community. It's got squirrels, raccoons, fish, turtles. It's got plants, trees, birds, all of them living in the same general area. So they are making up a community because they live in the same area. Each ecosystem has its own type of plants and animals in its community. A desert community includes beautiful cacti and deadly scorpions. What kind of community would you find in an Arctic tundra? Does anybody know what you would find in an Arctic tundra?
Penguins.
Maybe some penguins?
Polar bears.
Polar bears?
Seals.
It's
Killer
going,
whales.
it's going to have a few plants and it's going to have some animals. You're not going to have very many other things living there. Just a few plants and animals. Okay? What about a tropical rainforest?
Plants.
Plants.
Leaves.
Snakes.
Okay? It's going to be vegetation, which is going to be your plants and those big bushes and things like that. And then animals, birds, all kinds of exotic birds live in rainforests. They have tons and tons. They have a lot of lizards and snakes and all kinds of things. What about an ocean?
Fish.
Fish,
Animals. And sea plants.
sea corals, sea animals, sea plants like seaweed, all that kind of stuff, and all kinds of animals, jellyfish.
Blobfish.
What about a pond?
Coral. Animals.
Fish, plants, algae, because when you drive by a pond, sometimes it's got green stuff growing on top of it, and that's algae, right?
Yeah.
Okay? It's a living, breathing thing, so it's algae, okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to move down to is population. A population is one group or type of animal or plant in the community, okay? So here you are, you're living in this big community in your house, your area. So now we're moving down to one type. So maybe it's one type of animal or one type of tree. It says populations are members of the same species that live and interact with one another. Okay? They interact, reproduce, make more. Okay? You got trees here. All these trees are the same kind. They look like pine trees. Do you see them?
Yes.
That's a population of pine trees because you have a lot of them in one space. Then you have several wolves here, so that would be a population of wolves. A lot of the same kind of fish, that's a population of that type of fish. What do you think this population is?
Zebras.
Zebras. You have a large population there of zebras because there's a lot of them in one area. Okay? And this is a population of sea otters. It's one species living in the same general area. Okay? So a community is all these things together, living together. But a population is one specific thing. Okay? At school, if they ask me, how many students do I have in my class? They're asking me for the population of students in my class. Does that make sense? The population is when there's a group of you together of the same thing. You're all the same age, so you would be a population in my class of students. Does everybody understand that? All right. Habitat. Habitat. Habitat is an organism's home. It's where they live. All right? A habitat can be inside, outside. It doesn't have to have 4 walls to be a home. Not for a plant. Where does a plant live?
In the ground.
Outside in the ground. So a plant's habitat would be in a forest or in the ground, somewhere that it lives, okay? Some organisms live in the ground. They build homes in the ground. They dig down like this rabbit. And some build on top of rivers like this beaver does, okay? That's their home. That's where they live. That's their habitat, okay? Birds right here, birds build nests on the ground. If you look here, this one has built their nest on the ground. Other ones build their nest up in trees, okay? Some run along the ground. They never get up off the ground. Ostriches are birds. They can't fly at all. Okay? Then you have polar bears that dig underneath the ice so they can have like a little cave. Yes, Lily? Shelton?
I accidentally hit it.
Okay. And then these giraffes, they live out in the open grass fields. Okay? So they live out in the open grass fields. And then you have your water. You got your coral, your seaweed, you've got your whales, and then here's a pond with some lilies on top of it. And I picked that because we have lilies in our class. Okay? So you have these lilies that are living. The pond is the lilies' habitat. It's where those lilies live. Okay? All right, so here's a couple questions for you. How do you fit into your ecosystem? We just learned that there's a community, there's population, and then there's habitat. So what community do you live in? Somebody tell me, what community do you live in?
Statesville.
We do. Statesville. If you said Statesville, you are exactly right. You live in Statesville, North Carolina, and that is your community. Okay? Somebody tell me, what population are you? What population are you? Anybody, tell me. Anybody tell me, what population are you? You could be classified as being a human or being a child or a student or a boy or a girl. Okay? You could have a lot of different classifications to be in a population. Okay? So right now, I'm saying that your population is, you are either populated as a human, because you're all humans living in the same area, or a child. In your neighborhood, you would be how many children were in that neighborhood. That would be the population of that neighborhood. Okay? And then what's your habitat?
Right now, home.
Home is what? Home is what?
Your habitat.
Habitat is home, but what is your habitat? What is your home?
A house.
It can be a house, an apartment, a home.
I live in an apartment.
Or it could be a hotel.
It could be a hotel if you live in a hotel. It could be a camper if you lived in a camper. I know some people that have lived in campers for a long time. Okay?
Or outside.
It could be a tent. Whatever it is that you live in, that's your home. The word habitat means home. So what's your habitat? It's your house, your apartment, your mobile home, whatever you're living in. Okay? So those are 3 things that we wanted to go over tonight about the 3 parts of an ecosystem. Okay? So your ecosystem is everything, living and non-living. Okay? We have to break them down into smaller pieces to understand them. So we break it down into communities, which is all living things. Communities are living things. That's your plants, your animals, your anything, your bacteria, your germs, all those things that are living with us that we can't see, they're still part of our community. Okay? Then we break it down from there to the next level, which is the population. How many of that specific thing are in that area? Okay? How many children are in a school? How many rabbits are in the garden? Okay? How many cows are in my pasture? That's the population. I have a population of cows in my pasture. I have a herd of cows, and they're all living in a general area, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So then I break their population down to 1. Where does he go at nighttime to live? Where does my cows go at nighttime?
To the barn.
To the barn. So what's their habitat?
The barn.
The barn. The barn is their habitat. That's their home. They go out into the community, out into the pasture with all the other living creatures, but they come back home at night to their barn, to their individual space. Okay? So that's how we break it down, an ecosystem breaking down. Okay? All right. So that's what I wanted to talk to you tonight about for ecosystems. All right. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about for that. And I have one more thing that's kind of fun. I thought it would be fun. I have a Jeopardy game. Who wants to play some Jeopardy? Who wants to play some Jeopardy? All right. I don't know how long this will take. We've been on here for a good little while. I have typed all of your names. See your names?
I don't see my name.
I know, but it's in here. It's in here. Trust me. I did all of your names. Okay? I'm trying to make this fair. I have this bag. I'm going to put your names in this bag. Let's check it up. Okay? This is called Grammar Jeopardy.
Grammar?
Grammar Jeopardy. Guess what? We're going to play Grammar Jeopardy. All right. Let me see.
I think I do.
Okay, this is called Grammar Jeopardy. All right. So what I'm going to do to keep this fair tonight is I'm going to reach into my bag. Can y'all still see me?
No.
All right, I'm reaching into the bag, and I'm going to pull out a name. If they're not here, we'll move on to the next name. Oh, Lucas didn't join us tonight. Manny. Manny, pick a pronoun, a verb tense, a sentence tense, a subject verb agreement, or participation. Tell me which one you'd like to have. And Manny. Manny, are you there? I can't see you. Lost my little clicker. Where's my clicker? Ah. I can't get this off. Hang on. Lost my clicker, wherever it went. Here it is. Manny, are you still on here? There you are, Manny. All right, Manny. I'll start this over again. Still here?
Miss Miller, I can't hear you.
It's because somebody is making noise. They gotta stop. And somebody needs to turn theirs down a little bit because I'm echoing. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
Play from the start. Okay. All right, Manny, I pulled your name. So, Manny, do you want $100, $150, $200? Manny, what do you want?
100.
For which one?
Sentence.
For which one?
Sentences.
Sentences. Got it. All right. Name the type of sentence. How did Lucette fly out the window? What type of sentence is that, Manny? What type of sentence is it, Manny? It's a, let's find out if it's a question.
Yeah.
Well, like I
It's
said,
an interrogative. It is a question. It's interrogative. So I'll give it to you. It's a question. Who wants to keep score for me? Who's got a piece of paper?
I have like a bunch.
Cameron will.
All right, y'all keep score. All right, put Manny down for 100 points. Okay. I got
My
to
pants.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, back to home. Oh. That did not take me back to home. All right. Okay, let me draw another name here. Riley.
I don't know. I might be.
Riley, quickly choose one.
My phone was charging for me.
Riley.
I can't hear her.
Riley, we can't hear you. Which one do you want? Riley,
Can we mute everyone?
Yeah.
if I mute everyone, I can't hear who's answering. Riley, you've lost your audio.
She might be.
Everybody that's not Riley, mute.
Maybe like.
All right, I'm gonna have to move on. We're running really late. Or wait a minute, Riley. Somebody's talking in the background. Move away from whoever's talking, please.
Lucas,
Oh, Lucas joined in late. Hey, Lucas. All right, Mia,
Huh?
quickly choose one.
Sentence.
For how much?
200.
All right. Name the missing part of the following sentence. Boys. What's the missing part?
Cut.
What's the missing part? The boys. What are we missing, Mia? Quickly, come on. All right. Do. Time's up.
Listen, it's a question.
You're missing the predicate or the verb. The boys, what the boys were doing. You were missing the verb. Okay? The predicate or the verb. All right. Go to back to home. All right, Ansley, you're up next. Ansley. Y'all have to be quick. Come on.
Sentences.
Ansley, pick one.
Sentences.
Sentences for
250.
250. Name the missing part of the following sentence. Sitting on a branch. What's missing?
oh, I know this one.
Ansley, what's missing? Sitting on a branch. What's missing? All right, time's up. Missing the subject, the noun. You're missing the noun.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, Isabel. Quickly, Isabel.
Sentence.
Sentence for 150. Name the type of sentence. That was hot.
Explanation.
That's what it's ending with. What's the kind of sentence?
You're echoing.
Somebody's got me up too high. They need to turn me down.
Oh, so she can hear everybody else.
Exciting.
Ribbit.
It's exclamatory. Remember when you're being excited and exclamatory. Okay. All right. Next is lyric. Lyric.
This is what? This is just 300.
Lyric. Which one do you want?
This is.
Sentences for 300.
Yes.
Name the missing part of the following sentence. I gotta get things like this. The forest is full of many different sounds. What's missing? Missing parts of the following sentence. The forest is full of many different sounds.
The pronoun.
Look at the sentence. What's the parts that are missing? It's missing the capital letter and the period. See? It's missing the capital letter. It's missing the period. Okay? All right, Lexi. I can't get it up right now, Riley, because I can't. I've got
Miss Miller, who's doing that?
I don't know. Someone is talking in the background or something.
Miller.
Lexi, are you still on here? Lucas, pick one. So far, Manny's the only one. No, what's the Manny? Who had 100 points? Yeah, Manny. Yeah, Manny had 100 points. All right, Lucas, quickly pick one.
Pronoun for 100.
Pronoun for
100.
100. The subject pronoun in the following sentence. We saw photos of a tsunami. What's the pronoun?
Saw.
We. Remember, a pronoun replaces a
Noun.
right. So it was we. Okay. Who else? Lily Shue. You haven't chosen one. Go. Lily Shue, come on. Lily, I can't hear you. You looks like you're on mute. Your little thing is red. You're on mute.
For 100.
What's for 100?
Part of speech.
Parts of speech for 100. All right, name the part of speech. Flu. All right, we're gonna have to come back to this. You're taking way too long. What part of speech is flu? It's the verb. Okay. We'll come back to this. Okay. All right. All right, Riley. When I had that up on shared screen, I couldn't see the chat. That's why I could tell you I couldn't see it. So it took it off the screen then. All right. So that brings us to the end of the night. We've been on here for a good while now. Okay. Here is your assignment that I need you to do to bring back or to submit to me by Monday. Okay. Your Zoom assignment. All right. We talked about animal populations, communities, and habitats. Your Zoom assignment is to find a population in your neighborhood. A population of something. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be small. It can be either. Take a picture of a population and then take a picture of their habitat. Okay? It could be, like I said, my cows or a population in my community here. I could take a picture of my cows and then take a picture of the barn and show their habitat. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
You're finding a population in your community, which is a group of living organisms that live in your community, that live in the same area, a group of something. Take a picture of it. Then take a picture of their habitat. Okay? Where they live, their habitat. Everybody got it? You're gonna submit 2 pictures to me. A photo. You're doing this on your portfolio. Submit a picture of a population and then a picture of that population's habitat. Okay? I will upload this video. Yes, it's an hour and 40 minutes long right now. But I will upload this video to the YouTube channel. So if you need to go back and look at that video, also in the YouTube channel is the same video, the same PowerPoint already that explains it for the rest of the 4th graders. If you need to go back and look and see what a habitat is, a population, or a community, you can go back on YouTube and look at it. Okay? What's your assignment?
Find the population and take a picture of it. Take a picture of the
It doesn't have to be an animal. It just has to be a population.
And then their
Any
habitat.
living organism.
habitat.
Photo of a population and a photo of that population's habitat.
So it has to be alive.
It has to be something living. Can't be rocks.
What if we find an alien?
Then me and you both are going on the news.
Let's find an alien. We can be famous.
Can we use a baby?
Do you have a lot of babies in your in your area? It has to be a population, can't be one. A population has to be a group of things. Okay?
Like bees?
Like bees, yes. So a population has to be a group of things. But their habitat is the home that they
Who's
live in.
echoing?
Yes, somebody has me turned way up. They need to turn me down.
Ta-da.
Okay? Alright. You're gonna submit that to me by Monday. Alright?
Sure.
Alright. Hasta la vista. Y'all have a good weekend, okay? What?
Let's go. Yeah.
Peace.
Cam, let's go. Yeah.
Duo. Peace, Miss Miller. Have a good day.